Don Global presents the DG Recruit podcast on everything headhunting and recruitment. Achieve the life and career you envision. What's up, game changers? It's your host, Don, founder of Don Global, the headhunting and career coaching company helping you achieve the life and career you envision. In today's DG Recruit episode, we'll talk about what traits you need to succeed as a headhunter. I got this question because a friend of mine has been recently considering a move into headhunting as a career choice. And obviously headhunting, like I've been telling you guys, is an amazing career for many reasons. And it is obviously better suited for those who have the basic mindset and the basic understanding of the same worldview of what it takes to succeed in headhunting. Because I've succeeded as a headhunter, billing over $750 in my heyday in 1 year, $750,000 that is, for a client by myself. That's not even the best performance. You see people who sometimes can even bill $1 million in a year. These people take home about $300,000 to $500,000 of that. It's crazy. So headhunting, you can absolutely reach that level of success, but I think you only will see certain traits across successful headhunters. Because obviously in my working environment of my last firm, I did see a lot of people who wouldn't make it, and a lot of the traits they lacked were painfully obvious. So when my friend asked me that question, I tried to come up with the best summary, and I really tried to pick out 5 true characteristics that if you have, you'll probably do all right in headhunting, and you'll be able to make the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I promised you. It's absolutely doable, but like I said, this episode is going to be crucial for yourself to see if you have the basic tenements of what it takes to succeed. And I'm not saying that if you can't succeed now, you can never succeed. Obviously you can, and you have to work on it. But I think these are, again, the summary of the major characteristics you need to make it in this industry. I like to start off with the first and the most important quality. This is actually the most important quality. Actually, the rest is sort of like doesn't matter what order. This is the most important quality of a headhunter that has to, that must, that cannot be anything else but strong. This is the one quality that every successful headhunter has. And this is a deep-seated desire to create a financially wealthy, prosperous life. I don't care if you're an introvert or an extrovert. There has been successful salespeople across all of these personality types. But all the top billers have this in common, an extremely strong why. Because headhunting is not easy. If it was easy, then everyone in the world would be doing this job. And it's not doable for a lot of people because it requires too much excellence. Really, it just requires a lot of excellence. So not everyone is going to succeed at it. Therefore, the people that do push through and find the success at the end of that rainbow, find the pot of gold at the end of that rainbow, they have to have a strong desire for that pot of gold. If they don't, they'll just do some other job that pays decently well and eke a living that away. They're not going to go through the intensive personal struggles that one has to undergo to become a top salesperson. Because headhunting is sales. Headhunting is all about selling people to jobs and jobs to people. So it's a sales job, makes no mistake. That's why I say in previous episodes and certainly in future episodes, HR is not headhunting. Headhunting is sales. HR is a job that you work at 9 to 5. You go home, you don't have any worries that go home with you. Not so with headhunting. Headhunting, you need to be available when your client needs you, when your candidate needs you, when you need to give them a little pump of inspiration. You need to be available. It is an all day long endeavor mentally. It's hard to succeed if there's no serious why, because the point of headhunting is not to get a job, not to have a career. It's to make a lot of money. That is the first core
value of a headhunter, of a salesperson. You don't go into sales because you love cars and you like selling them. No, you go into sales because you want to make money from that car sale. It doesn't matter if you're selling a car, it doesn't matter if you're selling a medical device or a drug or a program or an enterprise software. The point of going into sales there is because you wanted to make money. And if you don't want to make money, you will not deal with the BS that comes with sales. Because people are frustrating. People are annoying. You're going to meet so many annoying, obnoxious people that you need to make nice with to make the deal happen. You might like your candidates 85, 90% of the time, like I did, but you also will hate the 10% or the 5% that drive you up the wall. But guess what? Those are still great workers, and employers still want to hire them. Similarly, with the hiring manager, not all of them are going to be wonderful, pleasant people. But guess what? They still pay a decent living wage, and your candidates still want to work there. So your job is to deal with their BS, and you won't deal with it unless there's a really strong why. So what I see a lot with headhunters is some people who grew up like me in an impoverished state where our parents didn't have money, didn't have knowledge, didn't have what it took to have a prosperous life. And our parents most likely are still working today. So that's a really common phenotype of a successful headhunter. You see a lot. They didn't grow up with much, but they have the hunger. They have the basic foundation of the other traits I'll talk to you about. So a lot of people, they hunger and they need that success. Another phenotype that you'll see a lot is a rich person's child. And they want to stick it to their parents. They want to be financially free. They don't want their parents to control themselves. Now, that was kind of me too. My parents ultimately became successful. They had a good business, and they were doing well, and they accumulated wealth. I didn't grow up with wealth, so deep down inside me is a deep desire to be wealthy. But as my parents did eventually get wealthy, I also wanted to stick it to them. I didn't want them to ruin my life. I didn't want them to rule my life either. So I wanted to have the ability to control my future. How do you do that when you have no money in the bank? So that's why I went into sales, because I did not want to rely on my parents. And I also had a rebel mentality. I didn't want to rely on society and a regular 9-to-5 to hold me through. And if you look at all the top billers, they're similar renegades in some way. You've got to have a streak of renegade in your body to want to do something that 99% of people don't end up doing. A lot of people don't end up going into sales. It's a very small fraction of people that do sales as a living for the long term, right? So a lot of times the differentiating factor is the serious, deep-seated need to make money. All right, so that's number one. Once you have that most important tenet, let's continue. If you don't have this tenement, do not do sales. A lot of people say, I want to help people. Okay, go into social work. Do not do sales, because sales is not about helping people. It's about making you rich. And anyone who says otherwise does not know what they're talking about. Show me a top biller who did it because they love people. That does not exist. The love of people comes second to the amount of money you can make from the deals. And that is the truth. No BS. All right, number 2. Communication skills is undoubtedly crucial. And not just verbal communication. I'm talking about strong written communication. So this is where I have the biggest gripe with the way America, at least, is set up. I do think a lot of people are not able to come into sales because they don't have the basic communication skills. Their school did not teach them how to speak proper English. When you're working with 9-to-5ers, VPs, CEOs, they all speak what I call white American English. And unfortunately, if you don't speak really good English, you can have a slight accent. If you can't formulate full sentences, if you don't know basic reading and writing skills up to, I would say, high school level at least, you won't make it in this business. You need to be able to write contracts, to negotiate with highly verbal and articulate people. So you need to know how to stand your ground. And that requires strong written and communication skills. You need to be able to articulate a strong argument of why your idea and why your strategy is better. It's all about battle of the wits here. And the wits I'm talking about is verbal and written communication. right? So it's not like other jobs where they compensate you for being good at math or science or, these technical skills. Again, if you look at the 4S's matrix in the Don Don Global teachings, you will see that sales falls within the top right quadrant. And that top right quadrant most values people skills. And people skills are shown in the way of communication style. So that is going to be key for you. And this, again, does have nothing to do with if you're introvert or if you're extrovert. I will tell you right now, I have met many a salesperson who is an introvert. They don't like to draw attention to themselves. They're pretty quiet. They feel no need to make a big fuss. They're very successful. So don't think for a minute that every salesperson has to be rah, rah, rah. I happen to be rah, 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 but that is not the type of person you have to be to make it in this business. Again, it's the ability to communicate your thoughts in a clear manner. So that does not have to do with being an extrovert. There's no correlation between extroversion and articulateness. A lot of extroverts do not talk eloquently. I try my best, but obviously we're not perfect. But anywho, so this third, I'd like to move on to the third quality. Beyond having communication skills, definitely, number 3, you will have to be able to compartmentalize. What do I mean by compartmentalization? It is a mouthful of a word to say, but essentially it means putting beside your feelings and your thoughts and being able to separate behavior and action from your thinking. In headhunting, so many things are going to happen in a day. You might have candidates that drop out of the process. You might have a client who's dodging your calls forever. You might have so many horrible things happening in your job right now that you have to be able to control your reactions to negative stimuli. And that, I think, is a big, big clue of whether or not you can succeed. If you are feeling challenged by negative stimuli and you're able to work regularly, even when things are falling apart all around you, you're probably going to do very well in headhunting. So I'll give you a good example. In college, I had just bought a crap load, thousands of dollars worth of stuff from a bunch of outlet stores as I was selling it on the internet in my college life, because that's all I could do to make money. And when I did that, one time I just spent all this money and eBay shut down my account. And I was so nervous because I was sitting on thousands of dollars worth of merchandise that I now can't get rid of and probably can't even return. I might not even be able to return it fast enough. But basically, I was like, oh my God, I'm so screwed. And in that moment of pain and in that moment of crappiness, I still was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to sleep because I can't worry about this right now. The office isn't open. Nothing's happening. I got to go back to sleep because I'm tired, and I'm going to go sleep. And when I wake up, it'll be West Coast time. They'll be open and I'll call them and we'll figure it out from there. That's an example of compartmentalization where you're like, this sucks, but I'm not going to let it deter me. I'm going to put it aside. I'm going to compartmentalize it, and I'm going to do something else. Whatever that is headhunting, because every day you're going to have to put down something that you don't feel 100% comfortable with. You're going to have to put it over somewhere. Somehow, somewhere, you're going to have to stick it away. And then the other side of your life, you're going to keep going. You're going to keep doing the things you need to do to get the day's work done, because you can't let one bad misstep ruin your whole day. You don't have that much time to afford, because it's all about generating sales. If you're taken out for a day because you feel bad, you won't make it. So compartmentalization is extremely crucial to maintain not only your mental sanity, but also to free up the space to continue doing the job well. Number 4, ego. Ego is so important. Ego is all about being confident about who you are, but at the same time, be able to step back and put your ego down when faced with a client or customer need. I am the most egotistical person you'll meet. As you can tell from my content, I think I'm the best. I truly feel that way and I think that way, and I'm so gung-ho about me. If I were a stock, I would double up my shares. That's how much I love me. My ego is through the roof. However, that's how I feel about myself. I do not let my feelings about myself impact how I treat other people. So this is where it gets dicey. Once you feel really good about yourself, a lot of times people start thinking they're better than other people. That's not what I mean by feeling good about myself. When I feel good about myself, it's because I love myself and I enjoy my level of accomplishment. That doesn't mean I think that I'm better than everyone in the world. right? I still respect people. I'm still nice to people. I'm nice to servers. I'm nice to everyone I come into interaction with because I care about people. I love people. So I love everybody. There's not one person who I'm like, oh, you're scum of the earth. Like, right? I don't, unless you don't pay my rent, then yeah, I even still feel bad for you. When you don't pay my rent and I have to evict you, I still feel bad for you. Even us, so I have a big capacity to love. So that does not come into conflict with my ego. When I'm dealing with clients and candidates, I'm able to put aside my ego to focus on their needs and to make sure that I can leverage my strengths to meet their needs. And sometimes that means not winning every single argument. So having the right equilibrium when it comes to the healthiness of ego is going to be a very important bit that you'll have to manage. Can you take someone who's going to scream at you and not yell back? I can't do that on the street. When someone yells at me on the street, I go crazy. I mean, they hear I turn into an animal. I'm just lucky right now that no one has caught a viral video of me doing such. But if you talk to me rudely in the street, you're going to get an earful. But when I'm dealing with clients and candidates, I will not be caught being rude because you can't afford it. Your professional life is different than your personal life to some degree, right? You can't let your ego get in the way of you doing a deal. The deal comes first. So being able to put aside your need for speed, your need for talking about me, you got to put down that need and you got to focus on them, on your customer. You got to focus on reaching the customer outcome that is the best for the customer, right? That's what's ultimately the most important service that you have to provide. Lastly, the thing that ties it all together is self-discipline. Self-discipline is a characteristic that you need to have in any job that you want to succeed at, right? Obviously, you need to be able to control how you behave, how you talk to people. But in a job that's fully focused on people, your self-discipline has to be even higher than someone who's doing technical stuff. Because you need to control yourself on how you deal with internal staff, external stakeholders, also your own emotional state, your own ability to do work. All of this requires self-discipline. In headhunting, there's certain things that you have to follow to generate a successful result. So you have to do the work to get the results. There's no way around it. There's no shortcut. Our job is 100% based on numbers. The more people you call, the better you get at the job. The more things that you do, the more jobs that you recruit for, the better you get at the job. The more people you reach out to, the more people you'll convert. There is no shortcut. There is no magic person that does it way better because they found a certain shortcut. There is no shortcut. I mean, you can do well the other 4 things and that will help you do better, faster, convert better, have higher efficiency. But ultimately, you still have to do the work that's required to succeed. There is no shortcut. I will keep saying that because there is no shortcut to success. And that is only doable from self-discipline. So you have to dedicate your time and effort to focus on the task at hand and get it done, whether you like to or not. So before, when I was doing training, working at the office, I would just do all my training. I would stay till 9 until I finished the training so that I could quickly get on to doing business. I didn't want to waste my time doing training when I could be calling clients and candidates and making money. So you also got to pick your battles of how you're going to organize your time. What's important to you right now? Is it partying with your friends or is it focusing on getting good at your job? Because there's a time and place for each strategy. I was kicking it in third year. I was relaxing. I was having fun. I was traveling. But year 1, I worked my tail off because self-discipline, it's got to be strategic. Right? It's not just like always work your butt off. No, you'll burn out. You can't do that. But it's also not all about life balance either. Not when you start. You got to be unbalanced when you start. You got to work hard when you start. So you got to have the discipline to do that. So ultimately, these 5 things in summary are deep-seated desire to create a financially bountiful life. Number 2, communication skills, written and oral. Number 3, ability to compartmentalize. Number 4, ego control. Number 5, self-discipline. If you have all these 5 traits or you're working hard at all these 5 traits, you'll probably be a really awesome headhunter.
I hope DG Recruit is helping you understand the realities, challenges, and opportunities when it comes to headhunting and recruitment. Whether you're already a top biller or an aspiring headhunter, I'd love to get to know you. Sign up at donnaglobal.com to stay in touch on all aspects of career coaching and headhunting. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in to DG Recruit. This has been a production of Donna Global.